The solar industry has some dirty secrets. Let's talk about them. There's too many situations where I've been to homeowners' houses where crazy things have happened and put them in a bad position. And when we're dealing with tax fraud, loan fraud, poor craftsmanship, fake warranties, roof leaks, house fires, everything you name it, I wanted to go through the utility company, the government, the manufacturers, and the installers, and talk about each of those groups and the issues that I'm seeing in the solar industry to give us the label as being a scam. So let's talk about the power company first. So you may have heard of NEM3 out in California. When you have a grid tied solar panel system, you have some kind of net metering agreement where your excess solar power is sold to the power company. Recently in California, the power company introduced a new solar billing plan for net metering called NEM3 that would reduce the amount of money or credit that the power company is willing to give for, say, a kilowatt hour of energy. What this does for the industry is essentially disrupts and shuts down everything. And California is not the only place that's done this. There has been a ton of different utility net metering changes throughout the US in different areas and different power companies. But for my area in Salt Lake City, there was a export credit of, let's say, 9 cents per kilowatt hour. A few years back, the power company Pacific Corp changed that export credit to say 4 or 5 cents, more or less cutting it in half. When people are buying solar panels as some kind of investment or some way to offset or lower their cost of electricity, it makes it impossible for a customer to fit enough panels on their home and for the cost of the system to even remotely make sense. My personal experience with this would be customers buying solar panel systems and having issues with what their net metering agreement is. I've seen several different situations where the customer, couldn't get one, or the credits changed before their system could be installed, or the credits are subject to change at a maybe 10 or 15 year period. This can be absolutely devastating to the customer, giving them more or less a useless product. Next, I wanted to talk about the government and their involvement with solar panel systems. You may be familiar that there has been a federal tax credit that a owner may be eligible for. That amount has historically been 30%. I'm seeing this getting abused in a lot of different ways. One of the common things I see is where the solar panel installation company may try to have that credit on more than just the solar panel system. Say they're doing other additions and electrical work and a re-roof and things like that, which you may need to talk to your tax advisor. I'm not one, but seems a little bit on the edgy side of things where you could get in trouble. Now, another situation is a lot of these solar programs that are financed are assuming that the homeowner is eligible for that tax credit. Now, again, I'm not a tax advisor, but what I do know about it is that tax credit is non-refundable and it is against your direct liability. For instance, if you made $100,000 in a year and you paid $20,000 in taxes and your solar tax credit was, say, $10,000, you would get a refund. You may be eligible for that refund. Now, there's a lot of situations where maybe you don't pay the amount in taxes, like you pay less in taxes than what your tax credit is, and you would only be eligible for a partial amount. And there's other situations that are specific to individuals where maybe I don't know if I want to say it's, they're late on their taxes, or for whatever reason they're not eligible for that credit. And when these programs are assuming, based off of their payments and their numbers, that the customer is going to receive that tax credit and apply it to the loan, but the homeowner doesn't exactly know if they are eligible or not, is leaving a lot of people with a crazy balloon loan at high interest and putting financial stress on themselves. Now, I know this wasn't specifically one that I listed off earlier as a topic, but I do want to talk about the finance companies now that we're talking about the federal tax credits. I see a lot of issues with financing a solar panel system. A lot of the customers that I go out to and service their systems, they have a loan on their system. Now, the typical lending terms in my area, the duration on the loan is 20 to 30 and even longer. Now, I'm put in a very uncomfortable situation when I go out to a system that needs expensive repairs and is close to end of life, but the homeowner still has 5 to 10 years left, or 15 or 20 years left on their loan. And you can think about it like being upside down on a vehicle, where you buy it for 50 grand and some things happen, and then you have a $40,000 loan on a vehicle that's worth 10 grand. It's kind of a bad financial position. One of the things that I dislike about these solar finance options that nobody really talks about is the fact that there are dealer fees or origination fees. A lot of these loans look very, look like they're very good terms, where it's like, oh, it's a 20-year loan at 1.99% interest, and the payment is super low. What the sales rep won't tell you, and I've been a sales rep and I've been in this position, in order to originate that loan, the contractor will pay a fine to the finance company that creates the loan, and that fine is not like $1,000 origination fee. You're talking something that is, 10 to 20% of the cost of the system. And this is undisclosed to the homeowner. And essentially what the contractor is doing is saying, okay, this is a $40,000 project. In order to get financing for it with the dealer fee, we might have to add in, let's say, $8,000. And so they're going to charge about $48,000, $50,000 for the loan. And then that money, it's like, a dealer fee, an origination fee, goes straight to the lender. And you as the homeowner don't understand that you're financing an origination fee that's built in and undisclosed to you, and you're paying interest on that. And that the terms of the loan really aren't that good. If you were to have like an unsecured loan with no origination fee, there's no way that you would get a loan at that interest rate. It'd be more like a 5-year loan at 20% interest. And I don't know a ton about finance, and I'm not an expert, and if you have more experience with this, please comment below or reach out to me. But how I see this is the lenders know that this is a high risk loan, and they're trying to make it look like it's a very advantageous, low interest rate, great term loan, when it is not. The next topic I wanted to talk about was just the manufacturers who are making the products. The attachments for the panels and the hardware, the panels themselves, and the electronics. Now, when you have this system that's presented to the homeowner as being a 25-year system, or may even last longer and won't have any issues, and then you have a product that is more or less designed to fail and has, design flaws in the system. So let's say I have to change out a solar panel. It's probably $1,000. If I have to change out any electronics on the roof, it's probably somewhere around $300 to $1,000. If you need a re-roof and you need your solar panels removed and reinstalled because your roof went bad or the solar panels are leaking, it's probably going to be, $3,000 to $6,000 to do that. If a main electronics goes out on your system, whether you have a power surge from a lightning strike or just a manufacturer defect on the system, it's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars to replace. If you have squirrel damage or pigeons on your roof and your system, needs cleaned off, it's going to be hundreds of dollars. If you just want your solar panels cleaned themselves, it's going to be a few $100s. Taking a look at all of the hardware and all the electronics and the panels, and on a lot of these systems, I'm questioning whether I should even reinstall the product because I really don't know how long it's going to last. And this involves every aspect of the system, whether it is the hardware that is breaking and shearing and seizing and failing, or it's the attachments on the roof that are, leaking, where you can have blown out rafters or random holes in the roof, or it's just not sealed up right and water's getting, to the, decking and starting to rot it. Or you have solar panels that have bad diodes or failed solder points or hot spots or broken glass, or just inverters and electronics that just flat out fail. And the issue that I'm seeing is that when you warranty a system and you say, homeowner, this system's warranted for 25 years from us and from the manufacturer, parts and labor and all of these things, I'm just gonna call it a fake warranty on all of these products. Because with my experience working with the manufacturer or maybe the installation company, generally you'll have a scenario where that company's out of business, or that manufacturer is out of business or changed up their warranty, and they're not offering a direct replacement or labor or anything like that that puts you into an issue. For an example, if you have a solar panel that went bad and that solar panel is from 2014 and you get a new solar panel, if the manufacturer does provide one, the new solar panel is going to be different electrical properties, different frame size, and just incompatible with the system. And it can be extremely difficult to retrofit that failed or the couple failed panels into the existing system, and might even be just useless. So to sum this up, in my opinion, the warranties that are offered, whether it's from the installation company for workmanship or the manufacturer for their product, are all fake warranties. Just 19 years from now, trying to warranty a product that was purchased almost 2 decades ago is going to go wrong for so many different reasons, and it builds the customer just like some kind of false confidence in the product and gives them this ignorance, and then when it doesn't last, because it won't last 20 years or 30 years, it's going to be a huge burden for them. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the installers of the product, and I wanted to divide this into the laborers, like contractors and workers, and the sales organizations. This is its own video, so I don't, I could go on forever about this. But whenever you combine loans, tax credits, and let's say door-to-door salesmen, it is just a recipe for disaster. And I have seen so many different homeowners that were taken, lied to, screwed over, misinformed about their systems, and it put them into a really bad situation. Recently I did a repair for an older lady up north, and I was asking her about her system and whether she was satisfied with it and kind of the general questions I ask. And she told me her story about the solar panel installation. And essentially what happened was someone came by, said that it would save her money, and told her all these good things that, that we do as salesmen. about the system, and she ended up, signing up for the system. And then a few weeks later, they installed it on her house, and it all looked good. And then she got a letter in the mail from the lender about the loan that she took out for the system. Now, from her story, she didn't know the cost of the system and was unaware that she was getting a loan for the system. Now, this is a horrible situation where it appears that the sales rep basically had her do a digital signature on the lending papers, probably on an iPad, and scrolled through the truth in lending and didn't disclose honestly what she was actually agreeing to do, which is terrible. But I see similar types of situations happen to a lot of different homeowners. Another big one is that grid-tied solar panels do not function when the power is out. You can think of it as the inverter that takes the DC electricity, converts it to AC usable power for the home. You can see it as more of an appliance. It needs to be plugged in order to function. So a lot of people are thinking they're getting backup power when they, are not, unless they are buying a off-grid or battery system. And then there's a lot of other, situations where there's just like unethical things going on. One big topic that, a lot of people have talked about is just how much money sales reps make for their commission. A lot of these commissions can be $3,000 to $8,000 on the average residential solar panel installation. I think the sales industry has done solar a major disservice by misrepresenting the product, whether omitting things that are important for the customer to know, or it is, just flat out lying to the customer about what the capabilities of the system is, how much it's going to produce, how much it's going to save them, how long it's going to last, that it's not going to require any maintenance and things like that. Now, moving on to the installers of the systems, the electricians, solar installers, whoever's on the roof, doing the project. This isn't consistent, so I don't want to stereotype every single company throughout the industry. But the trend that I have seen is that when you have a door-to-door sales-driven company, and then you have the installation crews, and you're piling on installs and trying to get as many jobs done a month for the least amount of cost, there's a lot of pressure on the solar installer to have the job done cheap and quick and have no issues come up. As an installer that has been in that position where I've made a phone call to whoever is in charge and said, hey, look, we're running long on this issue. This needs to be resolved tomorrow because of this, and this. I've repeatedly had figure it out, get it done today. You have another job for tomorrow, and we don't have time to make it up. So as an installer, that's a very frustrated situation where you're being pushed in to install panels on homes where the roof is too old and they shouldn't get panels because of the situation, but the sales rep sold it anyways. And then when there's issues that come up, you have so much pressure on you to keep the workflow going that you can't get the job done correctly. Now, another, issue I've seen is that solar installers and industry workers have ridden the solar coaster. And the solar coaster, because it, came about because the market is so volatile and companies go bankrupt and they move locations, and a lot of people in the industry end up working for a ton of different companies in a short period of time. And what I've seen the trend for solar installers is to underpay and undertrain and to fire and then rehire fresh people. And so there's like a really quick burn. And I don't see it like some consistency with other trades. I feel like, if you wanted to just be an electrician, you could go through school, become an electrician, and stay in that career and just work for a few different companies and have good jobs. But it's not like that in the solar industry. And so for installs, you have that combination of installers having too much pressure and then not being trained and too many new guys and not paying enough to hire someone who has a lot of experience and does really quality work and makes good decisions, and you just end up with shitty installations where there's roof leaks, electrical fires, bad craftsmanship, broken panels, all of the different things that can happen when your installation was just done wrong. In this video, I was really interested in starting the conversation, to start talking about these issues openly, because the issue I see is that the solar industry is misrepresenting its products and is being dishonest. And that's what the issue is at the end of the day. They're trying to make this perfect thing that does everything where there's no risk and there's no downside, when if you have a realistic approach or perspective on solar, you understand that it is crazy cool technology and can save you money and is an asset and all of the benefits, but you also understand that the system needs maintenance and that things don't last forever and that it might not be a great or the best financial investments, and there's other investments that you can make out there that would be better if you're just looking at what your ROI is going to be. I think a lot of people who are in the industry who love the technology like I do are very interested in seeing the success. And I think we need to take back the solar industry and make sure that we're being honest and revamp things before it's too late, because I feel like this ship is already sinking.